What's going on, beautiful people? Today we're looking at One World Under Doom, issue number 5, and it's taking place right after that crazy issue number 4. Obviously, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was just thinking, what happened to Squirrel Girl? Wasn't she in the beginning? Like, wasn't she part of this at one point? And now she's just kind of a footnote. I don't even think we've seen her in 3 issues. Right? I don't think she's in this one at all. But I figured we can have a small little debate in the comments. What do you think about Squirrel Girl? Do you like her as a character, or do you think she's just kind of a silly character they made up for no reason? Let me know in the comments below. And make sure you don't call me a silly poopy pants either. I'll get real mad, and I will respond. And I will say how you hurt my feelings. It is, it is what it is, but don't make me mad. Don't make me come after you in the comments. I will call you a stinky poopy pants back. It's not fun. But anyway, let's just jump right into issue number 5. 5. We ended issue number 4 with Doom battered, broken, but victorious. Captain America just roared, "Avengers assemble," and Doom, using magical crutches, declared, well, he wasn't using the magical crutches. Why did I write it that way? Doom, using magical crutches, declared. He wasn't using the magical crutches to declare it. Anyway, Doom, on magical crutches, declares, "Earth's heroes choose Doom." Now, in issue number 5, we begin with that moment. Earth has rallied, heroes are aligned with Doom, but the threat looming is Dormammu, cosmic, ruthless, and ready to consume the world unless Doom can stop him. After Doom, the heroes, and the villains stop the raft thing, the villains just kind of become an afterthought, which honestly is, I feel like they could have used them a bit more, like in this battle, but hey, that's neither here nor there. Right, the first page, we see Doom battered and broken. We see his alternate version Tyrannosaurus Rex self, Wanda, and Captain Marvel. Right, Doom says,
"Dormammu's demons, Scarlet Witch, seal off the portals before you can use them."
And the heroes are like, huh? Like, who's this guy? And Wanda says, "Carol?" And Carol says, do it. Like, listen to the guy. Doom then says,
"Carefully, Wanda, do not aim your magics at his portals. You must cut off Dormammu's very connection to this dimension."
And Wanda says, that's dark magic. It won't. And before she can finish her sentence, Doom says, "It will." And the next panel is literally him still on his crutches. like he's like, "Oh, help me." And Wanda says, "Victor, if this is a trick," and Doom says, "This is no trick, Wanda. I swear to you on the soul of my mother, Doom fights for Earth." And for those of you that don't know, Doom's mother kind of means everything to him, to the point where Doom's mother was held captive by Mephisto, and so he teamed up with Doctor Strange to free his mother's soul. But his mother is super important to him, so that's like, him saying that is like, oh, okay, he's for real. That's that one line that Doom can say where we know he's not lying. And Wanda says, he'd better fight for Earth. She says she's severing Dormammu's connection. Dormammu's shocked. He goes, You align yourself with him? And Captain America says, we aren't working for Doom, dude. We're working for us. And Iron Man's like, we just happen to have a single aligned interest right now, kicking your butt. Already there's major tension, right? There's trust issues. Wanda and the others are begrudgingly following Doom's instructions. Do they trust him, or do they fear that he's manipulating them? This issue emphasizes that Doom is no longer just an authoritarian leader. He's acting as Earth's defense. Publicly, heroes are beside him. Privately, they question whether his rule is benevolent or still hiding darker threads. While Wanda works magic to sever the link, the other heroes, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men, they draw Dormammu's attention. They fight more than just monsters. They fight doubt, fear, exhaustion, because they just came out of this other dimension, and it's like, oh, here's fight part 2, right? Dormammu is attacking both physically and psychologically. Doom may be injured, but he's orchestrating the defense. Right? We get this cool shot of Dormammu. He says, "And yet you follow Doom's orders? Pathetic." And just off panel, we see someone say, "Hey, Dormammu, shut it." And it's Captain Marvel, and she uses all of her strength and just punches this dude right in the face. Now, I don't know Captain Marvel beyond the MCU, but in this, she seems a lot less whiny and a lot more capable. Like, in the MCU, of course, they portray her to be this powerful being, but it always flip-flops, right? So in her own movie, she's like, right? She's like kind of, maybe it's only because she's starting to figure out her powers, whatever. But then in Avengers Endgame, she literally uses herself as a human bullet and goes through Thanos' ship like it's nothing, right? But then in, what was it, Infinity War, she was like, was she even in Infinity War? I don't remember. No, I don't think she was. So in Endgame, she literally uses herself as a human bullet and flies through Thanos' ship, and then maybe 20 minutes later, this person who's supposed to be imbued with the power of the Tesseract is standing toe-to-toe with Thanos, the Mad Titan, with he's got all of the Infinity Stones on his gauntlet, but then he takes off the Power Stone, puts it in his other hand, and he punches her away. Like, I get it's for the plot, but, like, it doesn't make any sense. My point is, in this, she seems a lot more leadership ready and a lot more capable. You know, with Wanda's action cutting off the connection, Doom is given room. He recovers the Eye of Agamotto, the same mystical relic used earlier in the prior issues, the one that Stephen Strange carries around his neck. He uses it to restore himself, to gather strength. He's not 100%, but he's putting his armor back on, right? Doom says,
"They attack Dormammu with everything they've got. They attack him with prejudice. They keep him busy. Time enough for me to recover the Eye of Agamotto and use its power to restore my own." And then he says, "Dormammu, Doom demands you to kneel."
Once more empowered, Doom prepares the final blow to banish Dormammu. The magic is tied to Earth. The spells are anchored so long as Doom remains in power. He says,
"Magic to hold my bones together, even as their raw edges cut across my nerve endings. Willpower to acknowledge the screaming agony of my body, to look it dead in the eye, and then to ignore it. And the final ingredient, one found in abundance when I look on Dormammu and see what he has tried to do to my world, to me. Hate. Enough to fuel them both. By the chains of Kraken, by the mystic moons of Manipur, by the ceaseless citadel of Latveria, Doom bids me away."
and just like that, Dormammu's gone. And Carol asks, like, is he gone? Is he? And Doom says, "No, not dead, Captain Marvel. Neutralized. I have banished him back to his meager dimension, held there in eternal spells of my own design." And Wanda says, "No, that's impossible. Forever magic can't be done. They have to be." And Doom cuts her off and just says, "Anchored to an event here on Earth? Correct, Wanda. And that is precisely what I have accomplished. The spells binding Dormammu are, as decreed, tied to earthly circumstances. Yet they will nonetheless remain eternal. For their end comes only when Doom's rule of Earth does." And that's... Bro, he basically was just like, haha. So, I got rid of the bad guy. Also, I made it so that if I ever come out of power, he comes back. Which, not reading ahead, makes me think this was a little planned. He kind of maybe let Dormammu come here on purpose so that he could banish him, and then use it, cast the spell where if he ever loses power, Dormammu comes back, kind of putting them in a catch-22. But that's a huge risk, because what if Doom had lost? He broke his arm, he broke his leg, threw him in a river. Then he gets up, then he breaks his other arm, then he breaks his other leg. It was a bit risky. I don't know. There's a moment where Doom addresses all the heroes, visibly weakened but still commanding. He tells them that Dormammu will be banished back to the Dark Dimension, and that as long as Earth remains under Doom's rule, Dormammu remains trapped. You know, this is it's a critical moment of asserting legitimacy, both magical and political. But after the battle, you know, Earth is saved, or at least Dormammu is banished. The heroes help with rescue operations. The United Nations building lies in ruins. Civilians saved thanks to Doom's protection spell. All, you know, the works. The world witnesses not just Doom's magic, but his effectiveness, right? You have everybody saying like, oh my God, you know, all of Earth's heroes working alongside Doom. It's a remarkable sight. Call me an optimist, but I think it, you know, it portends further cooperation finally. And this guy's like, the other guy sitting next to him on this TV that we're watching, I think with the same mother and child from issue number 1, he's wearing a Doom shirt. He says, we can't forget that Dormammu's banishment will last as long as Doom's rule does. Great motivation for keeping him in power as if we needed it, right? It seems, they seem kind of brainwashed, but they're not. They're just, okay, they're not brainwashed in the magical sense, but they might be a little brainwashed in the political sense, right? And as we see the Avengers, they're moving rubble. You see Iron Man, he says he survived. We literally all the heroes, I don't know who this guy is. He's a brain in a jar with a mask, with a cape. Why do you need a mask, sir? You have no identity. You have no facial features. I could pick you out of you take that mask off, I could pick you out of a lineup for sure. And then Squirrel Girl's back. Squirrel Girl. She's back. That's crazy. I opened the episode talking about that. But anyway, Brain Guy, I should probably look him up, but I think I'm just going to call him Brain Guy. Oh, his name's Brain Drain. Okay, I was close. Brain Drain says, there is a concept I am struggling to reconcile, Captain Marvel. And she says, I'm all ears, Brain Drain. That's how I know his name. Look at that. You read a little bit. He says, Doom really did save everyone in this building. The instant Dormammu first attacked the United Nations, he protected them all. I am uncertain what his angle is. And Squirrel Girl says, same as it's been since the start of this. He's trying to get people to like him. He's presenting himself as a hero. And honestly, it's not like he's been failing at it. He's given the world peace, healthcare, education, food, security. And before she can continue, Brain Drain cuts her off and says, indeed, Doreen. And the trains run on time, too. Or we could retranslate Squirrel Girl, and it's a... right? I'd imagine, right? That was stupid. That was a really dumb joke. I'm going to go sit in the corner and think about what I've done. Anyway, you know, she says, come on, man, obviously I'm not arguing for what Doom's doing. I'm simply saying he's getting results that people like, and it'd be naive to ignore them. You know, if we can see them, she says, everyone else can too. And this lady is like, thank you, Doom. Thank you, Doom. Even though they're being rescued by the Avengers and stuff. I just noticed Iron Man's armor's kind of crazy. I don't know what, you know, Mark 37 million this is, and I'm not sure if there was a previous story addressing what it is, but it's pretty cool. You know, Iron Man's like, hey, I think that's the last of the victims. And Sue Storm's like, I'll do a final check. Everyone stay exactly where you are. I'm going to turn the rubble and ground invisible, and we don't want you to, you know, run around, trip over anything unseen. And, you know, she turns the ground invisible. It looks really cool, and it seems like they've rescued everyone. But Thor has a strong line. He's reminding others that actions speak louder than words. You know, you can dislike Doom, but you can't ignore that today he just saved the world. He literally says, I would put a question to thee, friends, and I would ask that thee consider it carefully. And Sue Storm says, of course, Thor. And Captain Marvel says, anything. Thor says, heroes, is it not possible that Doom truly is thy best choice for Midgard? And Iron Man says, oh, no, Thor. No, you can't let yourself fall into that trap. It's what he wants you to. I ask thee to consider it carefully, Iron Man. Okay, I mean, I will, but then do so. I pray thee listen. Thor says, friends, I am of Asgard, where the All-Father is both king and protector of the 10 realms. Odin demanded respect from mortals and gods alike, and he received it. The All-Father, my All-Father, earned it. Under his rule, each of the 10 realms was saved from all manner of calamity, disaster, and ruin across timeless eons. Of course, Odin was not perfect. None of us are, and none know this better than myself, now that I have succeeded him as king. But more often than not, he was the best of us. More often than not, he was all that stood between us and apocalypse. My father was a great king and a great man. He made Asgard and all other realms what they are today. Well, he says, what today they ought. And I have been struggling mightily with why we art so certain a system which hath served every other realm of the world tree so well since time immemorial would here simply fail to work. I remind thee, I am not of Midgard, and this is not my land. But Thor does not shy his eyes away from truth. Those eyes tell me that since Doom claimed this throne, Midgard hath been safe, secure, and prosperous. They tell me, Avengers, that Doom hath done more to improve this realm in weeks than we in years. And Iron Man's like, yo, okay, buddy, I promised you I'd consider it, and I'm doing so now. Considering, computing, beep, boop, zeep, zorp. And I'm done. Thor, are you out of your mind? Right? And it brings up this whole philosophical debate. Is Doom right for Earth? And I mean, now, honestly, that he's put that spell in place, what are you going to do about it? I don't think there's going to be a whole lot you can do. And Captain Marvel is agreeing with Thor. She's like, Tony, I hate to say it, but he's not entirely in the wrong. Earth is still here today because of what Doom did. And Tony's like, for all we know, Doom set up the whole thing. Maybe he let Dormammu in just so he could defeat him. That's what I said. That's what I said. Damn, I'm good. I don't know who says it, but someone off. It might be Captain Marvel. She says, Tony, you sound like a conspiracy theorist. And, you know, he's like, you all sound like cult members. He's Dr. Doom. His literal last name is Doom. Tony steps, he starts walking away, and Thor says, you know, he accomplished this master manipulation how again? Oh, yes, that was it, by saving us and all other 9 realms from Dormammu. I, for one, would appreciate further machinations such as these. The work of heroism would be made much simpler. That's true. He's taking so much off of their plate. You know, Squirrel Girl says, you missed, I don't know, freedom. Like, Earth is under an emperor that, we want to be free. And Thor says, and Asgard is under its king, just as countless others of thy Midgardian nations are. You know, he's like, and our victory is so complete that even death herself could not claim a soul today. From the mighty Thor to the mighty Frank from Custodial Services. I love Thor because he's so literal. You know, and he's just like, we can't ignore that simply because we don't like him. And off the panel, we just see, you don't have to. And it's Maria Hill. Right? So right now I'm pretty sure she's the boss of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? So it was Nick Fury, then it was Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, then it was Tony Stark, then it was Norman Osborn, and now I think it's Maria Hill, right? Everybody's like, where did she come from? You know, because we cut somewhere, towards the end. Moses Lake, Maria Hill appears among the destroyed cityscape, or, the rescue area. She says, hey, Tony. Hey, Carol. Hey, Sue. Everyone else. I'm Maria Hill, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., what's left of it. I'm here because I know why you keep losing and why Doom keeps winning. He's hiding something, and it's big. We know where it is, and we know how to get it. But it's going to take all of us. And that's the end of the 5th issue. So I know that they were thinking of doing only 5 issues, and then they came out with 3 more, or have 3 more planned. They have 7 and 8 out, and the 9th one's coming out. This says to be continued in 2 months. If I had to wait 2 months, I would go crazy. My question is, were they just going to stop it here? Like, what was the plan there? Because you leave us with this giant cliffhanger. You have to wait 2 months. Imagine, I guess this ending dialogue was going to go a bit differently, and then not have Maria Hill, maybe they would be like, oh, maybe Doom is great. I don't know. But whatever. This issue, it closes with the public once again showing gratitude toward Doom. The image is monumental. Heroes united under his banner, civilians looking toward him as a savior. There's uncertainty, though. The question isn't whether Doom can protect. He clearly can. The question is, at what cost? What has he sacrificed or hidden to do so? And Maria Hill's revelations suggest there's more we don't know yet. So if we were going to wrap this up in a neat little bullet point PowerPoint presentation, Doom's broken but brilliant. Earth's heroes now stand with him in battle. Dormammu's banished for now. The public is more behind him than ever, but cracks are forming. The cost, the hidden machinations, the moral compromise. Those are the threads that will unravel or bind this new world. Keep this in mind as we move into issue number 6. Can Doom maintain this unity when people learn what's been hidden? And when another foe emerges, will Earth view him as a savior or a tyrant who used to use truth as armor? What's going to happen in this next issue? But you guys don't have to wait 2 months. You have to wait, if I'm not speaking to Robert the Void, you guys only have to wait like a week, depending on when this one comes out. So until then, have fun.